Welcome back to another episode of Charge Collective, helping everyday Aussies become the best version of themselves through teaching health, wealth, and happiness, and a couple of laughs along the way. At the moment, we've now got 2 weekly podcasts that are going to be coming out. On a Tuesday, we're going to have a short, sharp format one where I jump on here and give a couple of life lessons along the way and try and make it a bit fun for you. And then on a Friday, we have our real fun podcast where me and Dr. Jimmy Essler jump on here for about 45 minutes to an hour, and we sort of just let loose. We try and help you guys along the way, but then we also just have a bit of a laugh, keep it really lighthearted, and talk about any wins or losses that we've had in our previous week gone by. So without any further ado, let's jump into this week's podcast. And this week we're talking about the magic of thinking big. And this is all about setting big, audacious goals that sort of scare you a little bit. And I want to talk to you guys about how I've sort of set goals in my life, good, the bad, the ones that have worked, the ones that haven't worked, and then just like sort of look for a common theme along that where this is the best way to sort of set goals and why it is good to set big, audacious, hairy goals. I think they call it like a BHAG. So it's a big, hairy, audacious goal, or just thinking bigger than what you ever thought before. So to start off with, luckily I found one of my old notebooks, I guess you call it. Now that we've just moved into our new unit, I had like a pile of old books that I'd been written in. And I found a couple of goals back from 2021, 2022, 2023. I didn't find a 2024 one, and then I've obviously found this year's one. So I thought it'd be fun to go through this and just like look at how my goal setting has changed over the years, but then also look at the goals that have worked and the goals that haven't worked as well, and see if we can sort of make some like familiar and similar alignments between these ones. So the first one I wanted to look at was my 2021 goals. And I think this is probably what most people try and set goals as. And for me, this looks like very unclear about what I'm actually trying to get from life. So my first goal was make bed every day. Clearly I wasn't making my bed every day at that stage. The second goal was to drink 2.5 liters of water every day. And then gym every morning during the week, if possible. Do not overwork equals tiredness. For me, that just doesn't look very clear at all. Like I should have set something that's like, go to gym 3 days a week or 3 mornings a week. Or if you're going to do 5 days a week, set to 5 days a week and repair better and recover better around it. But this is just clearly my mindset at the time. Dedicate 4 hours a week to studying property. Meal prep. App timers. That's all I just had written there. App timers, meal prep. Try and find audio novels to listen to. Make good music playlist. Goal setting daily. 1,000 steps a day. Night reflection. Better conversations with new people. And possible side hustle. Look for ideas. So out of those ones, I think I did start making my bed every day. I did start drinking 2.5 liters of water every day. I certainly didn't go to the gym every morning because I already gave myself a reason not to go. I didn't really study property 4 hours every week. Even though I've given myself a tick there, I really don't think I did. Meal prep, it was on and off because I just read a meal prep. Like app timers, clearly didn't use that. Try and find audio novels to listen to. I have a tick there, so I obviously started doing that year. Make a good music playlist. I give myself a tick, but I don't think I've got a great taste in music. Actually, I do. I listen to country music. Of course, I've got a good taste in music. Goal setting daily, I didn't do that. And then like your night reflection, all those stuff, I just really didn't do because I look at this and it's such an unclear way of doing goals. And there was obviously a big mindset shift between me in 2021 and into 2022. And this will sort of start helping you guys see, I guess, where I sort of started opening my mind a bit bigger to thinking about big goals, like the magic of thinking big. So for my goals for 2022, I had seemed to have done them twice. I think I had originally set my 2022 goals, and then a couple of months, maybe a month later, I saw someone talk about how to set better goals. So my original goals for 2022 were a lot about property, like finish building my granny flats on a couple of my houses, try and make more cash flow, like try and buy a property that had an instant cash flow deal, complete my personal training, courses, start a personal and life coaching business, complete a 100-kilometer run. This one's a real funny one because at the end of 2022, I did do 100 kilometers, but I wrote this on the 1st of the 1st, 2022. And to be fair, I never thought about it again until 8 weeks before signing up for my 100-kilometer race, which was on like the 16th of December. I did not give that another thought for the rest of the year until someone said, oh, you should sign up for this race. Like all the tickets were sold out at that stage. And I was like, oh yeah, that would be interesting. But it's just so funny. Like obviously I wrote that on the 1st of January and I completely forgot about it for the rest of the year. And then with 8 weeks before the Kosciuszko 100K, obviously something was aligned to sort of have that goal happen. I also wrote here, complete an Ironman. I didn't do an Ironman that year. I done a half Ironman. I wanted to get my net worth to $1 million, which I'd done that year as well. I wanted to try and build $100,000 passive income through property and business, which I didn't do because I didn't start a business either. I wanted to start my own personal training, which I didn't do, and a full-time job doing what I love. And then also I had here Gold Coast move, which for some reason the Gold Coast or Brizzy really aligned to me. So out of these ones, they're still like pretty vague, I guess. Like there's a couple that I hit, like to complete the 100-kilometer run, get my net worth to $1 million. Like the ones who are about like the full-time job doing what I love and Gold Coast move, I think I was very unclear about a lot of these as well. And then I looked at the one that I'd done a month later. And this one was pretty cool because I feel like it sort of said for you to pick a time, whether it was a year or 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. So you're able to sort of like start thinking big into the future and you were sort of giving yourself a reason to do it. So in like my personal development goals, I had here to become a better public speaker and I gave myself 2 years. And pretty much it would have been 2 years from the date of that was when I got up and spoke in front of 250 kids at Nudgee school in front of 250 year 10 kids. So for me to like look back at this, even though like I hadn't looked at it for years, I was like, oh my God, that's so crazy that when I would have written this, I was so petrified of public speaking. And then to see that I actually went and done that is really cool. I thought I was going to do a marathon in under 3 hours, sorry. I still haven't done an official marathon by itself yet. I did complete a triathlon that year. I wanted to learn more about personal training and the human body, which I learned so much more than I had before. And then I wanted to be outgoing in first meetings. I wanted to give a great first impression, which I feel like along the years I've really tried to become better at that and just like be more outgoing and just make people feel good and listen to them as well is like a big thing for me as well. So career goals. So that year I wanted to try and double my net worth for the year, which I hit the $1 million for that year. I wanted to build out passive income. This one here, I wish I had done this one. So the start of 2022, the 1st of January, I was going to invest $100 in Bitcoin per week. I didn't do that. And now I'm really trying to chase my tail and get more Bitcoin. But hey, you can't do everything. So, yep. And then at that stage as well as a buyer's agent, I wanted to try and buy 6 properties per month for clients, which I sort of started getting up to that stage just before I left. So I was pretty happy with those goals. And then this one here, it's under Toys and Adventure, which for me, Toys and Adventure is a funny one because I'm not really materialistic, but one thing that I've always loved is having a GMC. Like a GMC ute has just been one of those things. So I had 10 years for myself to get that, which I just got to drive in America. And it's funny, like I'm not a materialistic person at all. And it was so cool to drive that truck. But I also came back and I just like love my old Hilux ute. Like I've had that thing now for 11 years and it's like a part of me. Like every little thing about it, I know how it sounds. So I do want to get a GMC one day, but at the moment that's still on hold. On here, this is one of those things like about setting goals. I have here travel to Texas and I gave myself 3 years to do that. And that's the exact same thing. I'd never looked at this. I'd never really thought about going to Texas ever again until the start of this year when I said to Tay, oh look, we're starting to get to that age where We're probably going to start moving out of we're living at Tate's parents' house. We're going to start living on our own. Eventually down the track, we're going to have kids. I'm like, while we've got the opportunity, do we want to go over and do 3 months in America? And sure enough, the most time we spent was in Texas. We spending about 4 to 5 weeks in Texas. So when I came back and a week ago, I went through these diaries and I saw that, I was just like mind blown of that's exactly what happened. And then one thing here as well, I've got a family farm where we can go away for weekends. So that's obviously something as well that's still in the works that I would love to have one day. So with all those second bits of goals that I got clear about the time frames, I feel like they're a lot more achievable and the goals that I actually started achieving. The next one here is I actually set life goals at the start of 2022 as well. And so one of my life goals is to change 500,000 people's lives, which now over the period of time, I want to change that to 1 million people's lives, but I've got 500,000 people here, my own life coaching business, and I want to make that $100 million business so I can reinvest money back into helping a lot more people out. I want to learn how to self-skydive, do 101 continuous Ironmans, which I don't know if I want to do that anymore. But even here, back in 2022, at the start of 2022, I said I wanted to have land near a beach in Brisbane, which I didn't even know there was beaches. There's not beaches near Brisbane, but I just wanted to move up towards that area. So yeah, now that we're living in Sunny Coast, which is an hour north of Brisbane on the beach, we're 300 meters away from the beach. That's pretty cool to see. Like, those life goals are slowly starting to take place, which is something that I've just written down 5 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And now I'm starting to see these little bits and pieces come through about what I was thinking back then. And then I've got my goals from 2024. And these ones have got a lot of X's on them. I think I was very unsure about myself through this year. And I think this is really where it's sort of led me up to now, where over sitting down over the past week, looking through all these goals, I think I've been very unclear about goals, and then also probably doing goals for the wrong reason. Like, here I said one of my top goals was to run a double miler, so to run 320 kilometers. I didn't do that. I said I wanted to post more content. I didn't end up doing that. I wanted to have sponsors like Red Bull and LSKD. I ended up with Lululemon that year, which was pretty cool. So like that's one of the 3 that I ended up with. I wanted to do a 24-hour run event that year, which I didn't do. Me and Tay built up the Smart Restart that year, which was our first community that we built together. I wanted to have 10 plus clients that year. I got up to about 6 or 7 before I stopped doing that. Podcast once a week, which eventually dwindled out towards the end of that year. YouTube events, I didn't YouTube anything. I had here maybe 7 Ironmans in 7 days, ? And it was just like a whole lot of very unclear reasons why I wanted to do stuff. I was just like thinking of big goals that also weren't, like, I didn't align with them properly, and I didn't set clear reasons why I wanted to do them. So my goals for 2024, there's a couple that are starting to become a little bit more, like I got down here to become more adaptable and have like an adaptable body. But I don't think, I look at all those goals, to be honest, like that's my page, yeah. And I didn't get to tick off as many as I would have liked, but then also I look back at them, and even now I look back at those goals and they really don't resonate with me anymore. So I think it's also about having goals that are long-term going to resonate with you and that you want to keep on showing up to day after day. And then my goals for this year is I wanted to build a proper online following. Like, I didn't want to build like that bullshit reels, catchy stuff. I want to build like a deep connection of following, which the start of the year I sort of really didn't align with, whereas now I'm sort of really starting to get more into that, because I know if I want to change people's lives, I've got to be able to put myself out there, and social media is a great way to do that at the moment. So I want to grow that to 20,000 followers this year. So it's going to be a big end of the big next 6 months for sure. And I want it to be the strongest and fittest I've been to date. Like, and it's not about doing long tasks. It's all about feeling the strongest and fittest in myself. So just to become like the perfect, like, well, not the perfect, but just like my best version of myself, where I feel fit, I feel strong, I feel capable of protecting myself and my family and others around me. So that's where I was like, I want to be fit, strong, and dangerous in a way. So I wanted to be, by the end of the year, I want to be able to do a sub 40 minute 10K. I want to be able to do 100 push-ups straight through. I want to increase my flexibility, so be actually able to more than touch my toes, be able to touch my heels. I want to be able to handstand for 30 seconds, do 30 pull-ups, 2 minutes of dead hang, run a minimum of 30 kilometers every week, be able to do a 3-minute plank, and then 200 squats straight through. And then also while learning BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That was a bit of a tongue twister for me there. Then also I've got stuff here like grow my wealth to $2 million through property and Bitcoin and investing. And then start Charge Collective, grow the community of like-minded individuals. And then also here I've got people that I wanted to meet in America. Look, I didn't get to tick all these off, but I had Tim Kennedy as number 1, and we got to spend a great amount of time with Tim doing the self-defense course there, which he was such an awesome human, so caring, so devoted to his family, and just really gave us a lot to take away from that. I didn't get to meet Sal Frisella, but we did get to meet Andy Frisella, which was pretty cool at First Form at their gym. He walked past me and Tay, and he just like sort of said hello while we were sitting down talking to Nate, and it was just like a really cool little moment for me. And yeah, so then another goal for me was like to read 18 books for the year, because I want to increase my knowledge, which I've been reading 10 pages at least every day this whole year. So that's something I've been ticking off. I've still got here, I want to ride a bull. I don't know if that's going to happen this year, but there's something that really excites me. We watch so much bull riding in America, and that's something that I'm still drawn to. I want to do a 3-day isolated camp where I just go out by myself, have time to me, don't turn my phone off, and just really come back to my roots. And then, yeah, just like little bits like visualizing better and just being more in control of who I am. So they're how I've written my goals originally, and just like writing them down. But the biggest piece of change for me in my life, I feel, was actually doing a vision board. And it's on YouTube if you want to see it, but it's just like I've got a 3x3 squares. So I just filled up those squares of 9 things that I wanted to sort of become a bit more successful and get driven to. And I first done this in August 2022. And on here I've got a big GMC ute, which is what I just got to drive in America. I've got this amazing place that's in Kiama on the water. I've got a photo of Sal Frisella talking at First Form. So out of those, so we've got to drive the GMC. We're living closer to the water. I got to go to First Form and stand in that room and just like feel what it would be like to talk to people full of it. I've got the Iron Cowboy here doing his 100 Ironmans in 100 days, which for me, that sort of starts feeling into my 36 half Ironmans in 36 days. So I've got the Conquer 100 there. Then I've got the group of people on bikes, which for me, I feel like that sort of part of life is probably, it's not something that resonates with me as much anymore. I'm more into building communities and helping people through that way, which I've got the First Form gym down here on the left, which I got to go through that, which was amazing. And then I've got Summer Smash down here, which is First Form's community event. So looking at stuff like that, I've really, over the last year, when I actually showed one of the guys at First Form, he thought that was amazing. And he was like, that is so crazy that you set that goal 3 years ago on your vision board. And I've taped it to the back of my bathroom toilet. I've pinned it on my whiteboard. I've pinned it on my mirror. Like I've pinned it everywhere, so I always see that. And it's amazing, like when it's at front of mind, and even you don't have to think about it, but just always seeing it, you become more aligned to going in down that path. So the lessons from thinking big is, I think it's always about thinking about yourself in 3 to 5 to 10 years about something that actually fills you up deep inside. So I know if you want to set goals that are just all for a bit of credit or a bit of just like to boost your ego, you will achieve those goals. But also when the tough becomes tough, like sometimes you might veer away from those goals as well. So always think about in big goals, helping people or helping yourself become the best version of yourself. Because even if you don't achieve those big goals, you're always going to grow in such a massive way that you won't believe where you'll end up. And then you get a lot of clarity going after those big goals as well. And what I mean by getting clarity is you realize if that's the goal that you want to be going after. I think it's so easy to think about something that we want to do, and it's like, oh yeah, that'd be really cool for me to do. But until you actually go after that goal is when you actually start getting clarity on, is this something that I enjoy doing right now? Or is it something that was a pipe dream and now I'm chasing after it and it's actually not what I envision it to be? And that's fine, but you've just got to be willing to realize that, look, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Come back and set a new goal and go after that. So I challenge you guys to look at yourself these over the next couple of days after this podcast and just like pick some big goals, big, hairy, audacious goals that are going to scare you and go after those goals. That's the end of this potty, guys. I'd love it if you could share it around, send it to some friends. But in the meantime, we'll catch you on Friday morning's potty. See you then. Have a good one.